So this is a demonstration of using the right block command and using the array tool. So on Wednesday 9th December we had a demonstration of taking exercise 27 and doing what we called exercise 27plus with it. That exercise was using the right block command, create a block from exercise 27 and export it to a separate drawing using the right block command, and then treat this as scale it up by 4 and then place these objects in a pattern using the array tool on a 1200 by 1000 palette with a 20mm spacer thickness between them, so making little boxes on the palette to place these, and just present your solution at the end. Okay, so let's set about that. So we're going to take exercise 27. So we're going to look at the block command here. So we might just create a block first. Sorry, let me skip there. So we can pause it. So we were looking at the insert tab of the ribbon, and we look and see the create block command. So let's just create a block to begin with and do the right block as a second operation. So clicking on create block, and we want to give this block a name, and we're going to call it class _ block 2. And we're going to specify pick points, and let's just pick the center of the circle as a point, and we're going to pick objects, select the objects, pressing enter, we finish that, and we just convert to block. Okay, so that's now the block, and it's defined, and by creating a block we've left the origin for that block, or the grip for that block, in the center of it, which may be convenient later. So now, instead of creating a block, we want to write a block, and this time we're going to use the block that we've just created, block, and we have a list of blocks. We did class block _ 2, class _ block 2, and we're going to write into a folder called Exercise27plus. Okay, and say OK. Replace the existing drawing. I might have done this before. Okay, so now we have created the block we want. So let's just open it and have a look at it. So open class block _ 2. And it seems to be empty, so let's zoom. Oh, there it is, and it's down at the origin, very conveniently. Okay, so what size is it? Back on the home menu, let's use the distance command, measure 60 by 60, but we actually want it to be 4 times that size. So the scale command, select these objects and press enter. And the base point can be really anywhere, but we'll keep it in the center and specify a scale factor of 4. Now if we just zoom on, we can see the thing as an entity. Yep, lovely. So if we hit save, our class block 2 is ready for insertion in a new drawing. So here we have a new drawing. Let's save this as exercise 27plus. So we have an empty drawing called exercise 27plus. We want to create a rectangle on that. We could start it anywhere we like, so 500, 500, for example. Let's try that again. We'll start rectangle, When it's asking for a point, give it a point. Yep. And we want to go 1200 horizontally and 1000. So there's our palette. Okay. Now, just to keep our geometry separate, we might create a new layer for the glass block layer. New layer, and I call this layer glass block, and we'll set the color to something conspicuous like golden orange or brown. Okay, and we'll make this our current layer, double clicking on it, and now anything we create is going to land on this layer. So now we'll insert the glass block. Let's browse. We're just picking up on an earlier definition of glass block 2. So that's lovely. And we say open and OK. I want to redefine the block, that's fine. And we land it somewhere. Okay. So now we want to fill up the palette space with these. So let's go to the home menu and play with the array tool. So we're going to array this object, and the default seems to offer it's 4x3, which actually might suit our purposes. We can squeeze them in a bit, so if we make 300 and 300, nothing changes until you click to the next cell, press enter. So that would nearly fit in, yeah. Close the array tool. We could select that and move it slightly. Move it anywhere. Just, yeah. So, in theory, it could be the solution of where we want to lay out our objects. But in fact, it isn't just yet. To edit the palette, let's explode the rectangle that is the palette. And let's offset it by the material thickness that we were given as 20, so 20. So it looks like we might get 4 this way and 3 that way, glass blocks on this palette. So the distances we've left is 1180, which is 1200 minus 20, which exactly what we expected, and distance again, 1000 minus 20 would be 980. Okay, so if we're going to pattern this up here, we want a space of 1/3 of 980 between the separators. So let's use the array tool, and we just want a column of horizontal bars. So select these 2 bars and 1 column, and we'll leave it at 3 rows for the moment. And the space between the rows is something like 300, was it? 326.67. But we need 4 instances of this, so we're going to make 4 items and press. Okay, so we're creating an array on our current layer, so we're getting the orange feature, yeah, the orange color. So we might just swap the properties of that and drop it onto different layer, layer 0. Great. So we've just modified the properties of that. So we want to do the same with the vertical bars. So let's do that. This time we'll be clever and leave it on layer 0. And so we want to make an array with just one row, an array of these two objects. We finish picking objects, press enter, and we want just one row, or the row, and we want 4 columns with a space in between of 295, and let's click on something else. Yeah. Oh, we need 5. Yes, because we've got the original object and 4 more. So there we have it. So that's the design of our separators. We now realize that this array isn't quite what we want. So we know that the spacing between the columns should be 295, and the spacing between the rows should be 326.67. Okay, so they're all seated there. But this isn't central in the in its allocated space, so maybe we'd like to have it centrally placed. So let's just go to our construction line layer, draw a couple of lines to find the center of the rectangle space that we've created for it, and then move it to that. So what we want to do is move the entire array. So this is the advantage of having it left as an associative array. So we're going to move this array, finish picking things to move. So we're going to move it from that center to the intersection of those two lines. And that's the job done. And we want to present it quickly on our A3 sheet. So it's nowhere to be seen. Let's click for paper space and zoom, escape, zoom all. We're seeing it now. And if we look at our paper space, we're seeing a scale of about 0.2 or 1/5. So if we actually set the scale now to 1 to 5, that might just suit our purposes. So one more thing to do while we're still in model space here is to freeze these two lines in this viewport. So let's make layer 0 our current layer, and go to Layer Properties Manager and freeze AM8, the construction line layer, in that viewport, and they've disappeared. Great. So we can go back to paper space and finish off by editing the details on our title block. So let's start off with scale. We've set the scale to 1 to 5. 1:5. And I'll give it in large capitals here: glass block palette. And we can put a date and all other relevant information on it. And apply that, yeah. Okay. And that's pretty much it. The job is done.